Also on Gelf, you'll find an interview that or a questionnaire that we conducted with all of tonight's speakers, all of whom we're really, really excited about having. Like all of you, when I first heard that Grantland was closing, it was, it was tough. And since then, there's been a Grantland-shaped hole in my online reading material. And I saw on Twitter, I had the same impulse that many of you guys did, is I really want to buy those guys a drink. So now's your chance. If you see a Grantland writer without a drink in their hand, please do something about that. That's really the cause we're working for tonight. Get Grantland drunk. But we were happy to be in a position where we could do something. We felt that Varsity Letters and Gelf were home for. We like to celebrate sports writing and really all writing, and that's something that Grantland was doing over the past 4 years. I think probably better than anybody else. It was something that we were happy that we were in a position to do it, and that's why I guess all of you guys are here tonight. We did something similar when Sports on Earth closed, and we wanted to do something for play, and if we were around, we would have done something for the National. There's something almost cyclical about these great high-quality sports sites start, and then sometimes they disappear, and then another one comes. So thankfully, these people aren't going anywhere. You can still read all of them just at various other publications, and really that's what we're doing tonight. We're just here to celebrate the writers. The first of our writers is going to be Rafe Bartholomew. Rafe. Wait, don't come up yet, Rafe. Not yet, yeah. In addition to being a really, really, Rafe has actually been a Varsity Letters speakers before. So when this happened, the first person I reached out to was Rafe, and Rafe reached out and got the entire Grantland crew on board really quickly. I didn't know. I thought this was just going to be me and Rafe here, and then he sent it out, and the response from all of them was amazing. So thanks to all of them for wanting to do this and wanting to connect with their readers. And Rafe is, like I said, a great writer. He's also a really brilliant editor, and he edited some of the real meaty long-form pieces that went up on the site. But introducing Rafe is going. I had all these nice things to say about Rafe. I wanted to make sure I had a chance to say them. But before that, somebody else also wants to say nice things. So Juliet Littman is making a surprise appearance.
Hi, I'm Juliet. Happy Thanksgiving. This is crazy. We definitely didn't think this many people would come for a random Monday before this holiday. We, I think, are extremely appreciative of everyone being here to begin with. For us, Grantland was a website, but also so much more. And just for myself, for the 4 years, almost 4 years that I worked there, it was just completely career, life-defining experience, which I think a lot of us feel tonight. And so it's awesome to have this group of people to share that with. And I just want to follow Mike's lead and talk about how great Rafe is. So hopefully everyone will keep their spiels a little bit short so we can get to a good Q&A. I don't know, prepare your questions now. I don't know if that was planned, but now it is. And yeah, I'm just super excited to see everyone here tonight, and thank you for coming. And I'm really happy to have all of my colleagues and friends come out, starting with Rafe, who is an amazing editor and a great dude. So here he is.
What's up? I guess I've been introduced. I'm Rafe Bartholomew. I was the features editor at Grantland, but aside from that, I also wrote about boxing, basketball in the Philippines a lot, and just sort of the idea that there was a place that you could have a job description that sounded like that is kind of one of the things that made Grantland an amazing place to work for. in that sort of spirit, to sort of showcase the range of brilliance and idiocy and creativity and foolishness, I just wanted to come up here and read 23 Grantland headlines that I just pulled up today in about 45 minutes. And like the thing is, like, these are some of the ones that stick out to me. I bet everybody in this room could have one, could make the same list in the same amount of time. That would be just as entertaining and just as emblematic of what a special place that website was. And so let me get into it. 23 Grantland headlines. Baby turtles on fire. R.A. the Knuckle Man. Fuck rap, laying back eating poutine. The island of Dr. Simbo. Return to the island of Dr. Simbo. The island of Dr. Simbo lives. Super Bowl Arabi. Naked Bieber jacked Aubrey and a life-altering question. Should I get swole? Rem. You're not looking swole yet, Rem. Who is the top second banana? I suck at football 2.11. I am sitting in a room between two dicks on an island. The Ballad of the Piggyback Bandit. The Ballad of Des and Tony. The Ballad of Blink-182. The Ballad of Boogie. The Ballad of the Fabulous Sports Babe. The Ballad of Reggie Bush. Asses of Fire. The Third Revelation of Father John Misty. Flight of the Montrose. From Here to Paternity. The Kardashian Part 21. We're eating pie in our bathing suits. 100 years of arm bars. And the sea is dope. Thank you all for coming out tonight, and thank you everybody who we worked with, who's here and not here and all over the country and the world. It was, amazing, and we're going to be family forever. Yeah, I mean, shit. I didn't know, I thought we were doing good work, but I didn't know that it would mean this much. So it's cool to kind of see it in person. And I don't think I'll be able to sort of wrap my head around it for another 20 years. Thank you. Up next, should I, you know what, Brian Phillips, come on up and do it.
So before I went back there, somebody was buying me a drink, and I lost that person. Yeah. And if that drink is out there and you want to pass it forward, this is. Hey. Right? Yeah, that sounds good. Right. All right, so I'm going to read two things. The first thing is just an excerpt, but I think it's necessary to set the tone for the second thing. And the first thing is actually a New York Times piece. It was published on October 30th, 2015. It's by Richard Sandomir. Richard Sandomir, the God. I have it saved on here as a screen cap, so hang on. It's called ESPN Ends Grantland's 4-Year Run by Richard Sandomir. Oh, silence in the crowd. So he's talking about how Grantland got canceled, and then he gets to the point in the piece where he describes what Grantland was. And he says, Grantland established itself as a community of writers who were inclined to write exceptionally long pieces, often making themselves part of the story. Holly Anderson, a Grantland writer, said on Twitter on Friday that she once filed 1,000 words of fiction on Roger Federer's deviled egg recipe, quote, and it went up without a comma changed. Yeah. Sorry, Megan. We had the most amazing copy desk in media, and probably some commas were actually changed.
Yeah, Sandomir didn't double source.
Yeah, absolutely true. Yeah, right. We had many quibbles with this piece. So then he says, ESPN seems to have concluded that some of Grantland's long articles could appear on ESPN.com, and that it did not have much need for the site's cultural coverage. So the second piece I'm going to read is Grantland exclusive, Roger Federer Makes Deviled Eggs by Holly Anderson. In this, there is no conundrum. You must begin with the chicken. An Appenzeller Spitzhauben is best. Silverbirds, if you can obtain them, make the most picturesque backdrop for dining out of doors. We understand one another, this chicken and I. I can look into one of her eyes and know her father wished for her to become a surgeon, and into the other and see her conflicting dreams of becoming an astronaut. Instead, she busies herself in the poultry yard, patrolling for insects and pausing only to cock her head at the sky, observe a passing satellite, and wish and wonder. Appenzeller Spitzhauben are prized for their fertility and regularity. In this, we also understand one another. The ideal egg measures a precise 5.08 centimeters in diameter. A deviled egg of my creation, whether too large or too small, would still outshine even the gaudiest dishes of the most prestigious picnics. But no matter, the birds know my mind. Underproportioned eggs are taken away for mayonnaise. Overgrown specimens are nudged back under the hens by the hens themselves, to be ushered into life already knowing that perfection is the only defense against an increasingly imperfect universe, and that they themselves draw breath only due to having consumed too voraciously in the womb to be suitable for themselves for consumption before they were even birds. There is a conundrum. 1 dozen Appenzeller Spitzhauben eggs lowered into an already boiling pot will cook in precisely 11 minutes. You may use this time to make the mayonnaise. Let your wrist be respectful but unyielding in the mayonnaise bowl. These yolks were unsuitable for decorative purposes, but they have a purpose still. At the same time, Dante's Limbo showed no mercy to the unborn, and neither must you. Cool and peel the boiled eggs in an ice bath of glacier water and pat dry with a kitchen towel. Cleave each egg in two with the implacable cruelty of a scorned lover. Remove the yolks and fold them into the mayonnaise with the all-knowing caresses of an old lover. The balance is not difficult. Crack a mustard seed between your teeth. The ardent joy of wild summer should spread across your tongue like July applause at center court. If this sensation is not immediately forthcoming, find a new plant. Repeat as necessary. Scatter seeds over the yolk mixture and stir. The children should be returned from their truffling expedition by this time. Shave the mushrooms directly into the mixing bowl and explain to them how scarcity can elevate the mundane to the sublime. The babies may not fully grasp this concept, but the girls are nearly 6 and absorb every word with solemn nods and the light of understanding behind their eyes. The ill-informed chef would here add paprika. It is my unwavering belief that this spice is best left to the gauche and to the Spanish. Summoning all of your strength, the bile of every errant shot, whip the yolk mixture until the egg filling is aerated enough to form a precise model of the Matterhorn in the bowl. Pipe into egg halves. The shape of the piping bag tip I leave between you and your God, but let no more than a 6-pointed star be used. These deviled eggs do not preen. Their perfection is a matter of fact that is as simple as it is irrefutable. Arrange the eggs on a platter. White porcelain is the only acceptable material for this task. Sterling silver belongs to second place and grandmother's tea time. Collect the most verdant chives from your garden and position the ends under your finest knife. I prefer the Masanobu Damascus Santoku for this task. Chop at precise 1/64 inch intervals. Do not cast so much as a fleeting glance at the chopped pile. Trust infinitely in your own precision. Sprinkle 11 chive bits onto each filled egg half, taking care not to bruise the herbs as they are distributed. Carry the platter in both hands down to the shoreline. Balance it on 3 rocks for stability. Remember your mother's laugh as the mists spiral upward from the surface of Lake Zurich and dissipate in frightful anticipation of the sun. Return indoors after the platter has cooled, but before dew begins to collect on the surface of the eggs. Serve immediately. Thank you. And introducing next, Roger Federer's voice, Holly Anderson.
I can't vamp. We're gonna do it. Wesley Morris! Wesley Morris! And some guy. Hey, Internet. So the story that Brian just told is very near to my heart, and not just because it hammers home the majesty of major tennis brunch-based fan fiction. It's important to me because, I'm serious, it's representative of the way that Grantland really sang. When I took this job for the first time in my adult life, I was heading into a writing gig where I didn't know anybody. Every job I'd had up to that point had been about joining friends to go to some new place and launch some new thing. And this time was different. I'd been approached by total strangers who already had an operation in place, which is why I spent kind of a stupid amount of time trying to convince them that they'd made a terrible mistake. I'm forever grateful that they didn't listen to me, so in chronological order, thank you, Sean, thank you, Dan, thank you, Bill. I joined Grantland in the first place for the platform, but it almost became immediately about the people. It's what made me run for my laptop every morning and stay up with it too late every night. I'm sure there are folks out there sick of hearing about this, but they can fuck off while the rest of us celebrate these staggering amounts of love and compassion that went into that place every day in every story. I've never received the kind of support as a writer. I've never been surrounded by colleagues I wanted to see glorified as much as I wanted glory for myself, which is saying something. And I've never worked as hard in my life as I did at Grantland, and I didn't have that impulse because I was at ESPN. I did it to keep up with these guys here in this room and the ones who couldn't be here tonight. And every advance I've made as a writer over the past 2.5 years has been because I'm chasing them. It's a side effect. And they make it easy to want to emulate them by not only being the best goddamn writers on the planet, but by just being there for each other, which sounds so basic, but is so incredibly rare. I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry. And we're not done, not with that part. The love that we bore for each other has carried on right past the end of the site. It's brought us here tonight. If I know these guys like I think I do, it'll follow us after we scatter from here. And it's easy to feel that way when you have friends like Brian willing to get up and read your Roger Federer fanfic on stage in front of hundreds of total strangers. Perfect. You're perfect. And speaking of FedEx, if you read this morning's Q&A, you know that the story doesn't end there. The day they pulled the plug on Grantland, I was talking about Twitter about what it meant to me to have editors who would allow a piece like that to go from running joke, footnote, FedEx started in June 2014 when our boss, Dan Fierman, was on vacation, and I tweeted, "Hey Dan, if I write 1,000 words of speculative fiction about Roger Federer's deviled egg recipe, would you put it on the site?" Rembert chimes in, "This is my vertical," and the answer is yes. Molly Lambert chimes in, "Lighthouse down," and Dan responds, "I'm never going on vacation again." And a year went by, and we'd been joking about it for a year, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. And Brian's like, we'll do it. And I wrote it in a fever dream, and it did go up with some commas changed. Megan, wherever you are, I'm sure had to change a lot of commas. But other than that, it went up unaltered, and I'm really proud of that. So I was talking on Twitter the day they pulled the plug on Grantland about what it meant to even have that exist, without editors saying, are you concerned that you're out of your fucking mind? And as alluded to earlier, there are a couple of hall monitors out there who disagreed with me on that point. That was Friday. The Monday after this all went down, the start of our first full week of professional homelessness, I woke up to an email from Brian Phillips, who had reacted to that bullshit on Friday by doing what he does best, which is writing fucking circles around everybody else. And what he'd written was a sequel to Roger Federer Makes Deviled Eggs. It didn't come into the world in time to exist on Grantland, to sit beside the original. It doesn't exist anywhere online. It's only been seen, as far as I know, by a handful of people up to now, all of whom are in this room tonight. And I'm going to share it with you because, after all, what possible way is there to follow Brian Phillips than with Brian Phillips' own words? So here it is, world premiere of a Grantland exclusive, Rafa Nadal Makes Deviled Eggs. The egg. He is only an egg. He has pooped out the releasing hole of a chicken. Some people, maybe, they wish to make him more than this. They wish to make him magic, but he is not magic. In my favorite film, War Horse, the horse who makes us cry and laugh with so much of goodness, even this horse is not magic. He is only a horse. If we want to make this egg taste the delicious, we must see in our brains what this egg truly is. He is round. At one end, he is of a fat roundness. At the other end, he is of a skinny roundness. Like the dancing heroine in a video of rap. He is easy of breaking. If you drop him, he will grandiose of this mess. Look out with this egg. He is not a waiting baby chicken. If you warm him for the month, he does not become born. Do not ask me how I am certain of this. He is able to become so shiny if we plop him in the boil for some time. Are you ready to plop him? Good. He must remain plopped for 12 full minutes. While he is in his rumbling bath, we will gather his friend of wonderful tasting. From the refrigerator, take the mayonnaise. I recommend you use the mayonnaise with the squirt end because I find that the squirts are easy to make of this way. But use whichever mayonnaise you wish. All mayonnaise is the same. Crack this egg by tapping him with magnificent gentleness against the side of the plopping pot. Myself, I tap him 47 times, exactly 47, each time I make of this egg. Cracking him should take between 4 and 5 minutes. Guests may say, why come are you spending so long tapping this egg? Do you have the disorder of obsessiveness and the disorder of compulsiveness? Rafa, are you listening, Rafa? You are not answering these questions because you are giving everything to the tapping of this egg. When he is tapped, peel him. Now we chop the shiny egg into half. Take warning, the shiny egg has the wobbles and leaps away with great slipperiness. Hold him with careful, like he was the runner-up trophy you were reminding yourself not to drop. Do not worry, the knife will cut him, even through this newfound jiggling flesh. Squirt now of your mayonnaise. Squirt with a strong squeeze through the squirting end. Myself, I squirt 3 small times, always 3, with my lip curled as though I were testing an ingot by putting my incisor in the ingot. But your method of squirts may be left up to you. Squirt the way that feels fine to you. Think of the happy scenes in War Horse when the horse is not in wars. I am sure it will be all right. Now we dust on the mustard, making use of our mustarding spoon. Now you must be preparing yourself, for here is the moment of darkness. Here is the time when, whatever we have made of this egg in the before minutes, all is about to seem lost. Perhaps you are dropping of the mustarding spoon and tumbling mustard in hot clouds of air. Perhaps you are knocking over the salt shaker in your haste and having to count so many of her grains. Perhaps it is the egg himself that you are dropping. It is bad. This is the moment when the hell devils will seem to churl and swirl all about you and pull down on the strings of your legs. It will be as if you yourself are the egg and they have plopped you in a pot of such devils. It will be as if your hope has been tapped 47 times against the side of the plopping pot and left you a naked orb quivering of much slipperiness. This is where we come to the most important ingredient in the making of this egg, fight. Fight is the ingredient. Without fight, all eggs are never to obtain their delicious triumph. You must shake your finger at yourself. I will not be put down by this egg, you must say. I will breathe this billowing mustard, though it burns inside my lungs. I will sweep in these grains of the salt. I will pick up this egg. I will stamp upon these hell devils with all of the souls that are on the bottoms of my feet. Then you must do this. You must conquer of adversity if you are to enjoy this egg. Have you conquered? Good. Lastly, you may put on this egg's other friends of wonderful tasting. Use of the salt, the pepper, the vinegar, however you like. My own one rule for this time is that you do not forget the paprika. Give this egg paprika. He wishes for it. There are egg makers who say no to this paprika, but in my soul, I know that an egg without this spice is a thin, weak, watery thing. A hand may be pretty, but you wish it also to be able to make a fist. Now put this egg on a plate. You have defeated him and made of him something marvelous. You may eat him now, for now you deserve to be sated. Carry him to the media room, and if you are of the correct mood, put on Warhorse. Warhorse is a good accompaniment to the egg. Where there is life, there is hope, says the person who says this in Warhorse. I have found that this is of much truth. And now our maester from another Mr. Jason Concepcion.
Hello. I came late to Grantland, so in lieu of reading something, I'd like to share with you how I got the job. I was later told by Sean Fennessy that the reason I got hired by Grantland was the following tweet. February 21st, 2013, 12:10 a.m. Right now, Daryl Morey is in his office, door locked with a belt around his neck, furiously jacking off to the highlights of Harden's 46. So if there are any reputable sports media outlets here looking for those kind of takes. My next story, how I knew that I really was at Grantland. The third anniversary party at Bill's house. It's a fucking mansion. There was a taco truck there. And this is true. Seth Meyers was there. And you're like, wow. This is how I knew I was really at Grantland. Johnny Bananas from MTV's The Challenge was there. And in front of the kind of the lit up Grantland topiary like sign, he recited the soliloquy from Lone Survivor. That's it. And now, Mossad agent Amos Barshad.
Jason will now do the speech from Lone Survivor. He wasn't supposed to tell anyone about the Mossad thing. That's supposed to be secret. Thank you to everyone over there and everyone in LA, and to Bill Simmons, and also to ESPN, because when you kill someone young, you make them more legendary. So in a way, it kind of helped out. Just gonna make this very short and quick. One of the great things about working at Grantland is that our editors indulge us they let us go, and sometimes they cut us back. And one of the ways that they would kind of find the middle road was the footnotes. Some of the true Grantland heads remember the side notes. What are they called, side notes? Side notes. The side notes are dope. So I went through some of my stuff and tried to find some nice non sequitur, no context footnotes to share with you guys real quick. I emailed them to myself. This is like a really good tactic. You guys should use it. There was some, just some nice basic ones like Bradley Cooper with smashed egg on his head. Illuminati sex party tipster. One just says a mohawk. These are all really important things I must have had in my pieces. And turns out a lot of the good ones would come with the pieces I would write about rappers. This one was from Riff Raff. It wasn't a quote he gave to me, but it was a quote we had to get in there. In high school, I would go to school, but I would then get kicked out because I wouldn't wear a shirt. But then they let me back in because they'd be like, okay, we got a fashion show, so you got to come back and you need to like put the creases in the pants. So this is important stuff. This is from a piece about Ad Rock, Adam Horovitz from the Beastie Boys. Well, technically, Cookie O Puss was the special St. Patrick's Day version of Cookie Puss. Also, from the Wikipedia page, according to Carvel's backstory for the character, Cookie Puss is a space alien who was born on planet Birthday. In his television commercials, Cookie Puss has the ability to fly, though he requires a saucer-shaped spacecraft for interplanetary travel. They let me quote, at length from Wikipedia. It was a great place to work. This is from a profile of David Simon. If you find yourself up in Yonkers, do check out Jadakiss' Juice Bar, Juice for Life. On Nepperhan Avenue. Like, I had to make sure you knew how to get there, too. We needed this stuff in there. The slogan, love is love. And then the truth is, shout out to, is that a heckler? I now encourage all you guys to go beat up that person. Most of the good footnotes from a piece, which I should have predicted was from a piece I wrote about Wu-Tang. All the good ones came from that. So this one is from the part about you, God. More non-sequiturs. There's no context. Don't ask for context. According to this random website, at their prime, the Tomahawks were led by a guy named Champ who, quote, was known to own a horse and ride that sucker all over the projects, dressed like a Wild West outlaw. This is from the part about Method Man. A quick note from Meth on stage names. This is him talking. It played more into the street thing. Like, if I got locked up, I don't know that guy's name and shit, but he go by Jamel. There's a dude out there that we started giving regular names. Like, my dude Jin, that's his street name and shit, but we were calling him Sammy. His name even fucking Sammy, bro. We was calling that dude George. His name ain't George. Herb. We had a dude named Herb. And then the last three is from the part about Capadonna. They flew me to Arizona to talk to Capadonna. That will never in my life happen again. Okay, so he also laments the lack of business opportunities taken back when the Wu could do no wrong. This is him talking. I have established more conglomerates, more economical power. Wu bodegas. I mean, damn. Is that fucking hard? Another part. While he's known some members of Wu-Tang since preschool, he met Method Man in junior high in Park Hill when a mutual acquaintance brought him to the staircase to rap. He was like, this is my man Clifford. He just moved around here. He rocks. I was like, Clifford? We don't deal with nobody with the name Clifford. And this is the last one before I say, thank you to Grantland. Grantland forever, Wu-Tang forever. This is the last one. At one point during a rare lull, he breaks the silence with, my palms is itching, there's money coming.
I'm Jordan Ritter Conn.
I wouldn't mind introducing Jordan Conn. I remember when I first moved to LA for Grantland in 2011. Like, we were living in this ridiculous Disney corporate housing, a place called 1010 Wilshire. Yeah, many of us lived there when we first moved out. And I remember reading Jordan's atavist, what is it, a book? How do you call an atavist story? You're right. It was called, so it was about a 90-page biography of Manute Bol. And I honestly, yo, don't laugh. No, it was like fucking good. And I didn't even remember your name. I was just like, man, that was a really good story. A couple months later, Jordan emailed me and with a couple pitches and mentioned that he had written that, and I took him very seriously because he mentioned that. And it took a while to get him up to a staff writer job, but I have loved working with Jordan so goddamn much, and I'm so proud to have played a role in helping him become a staff writer at Grantland and motherfucking everything he's done since.
All right, so many of the people who have been on this stage and who are in that room and who had bylines on this site are people who a man named Bill Simmons discovered somewhere on the internet writing just the weirdest, most brilliant shit you had ever read, and he decided, I need them to write for me. But there was also a place at Grantland for those of us who did stuff that now seems just absolutely ridiculous, like write for newspapers or go to journalism school or write 90-page biographies of Manute Bol. And for those of us like that, those of us who came up kind of more traditionally in sports journalism, came up hearing about this thing that used to exist in, I think, the early 90s called the National Sports Daily. And the day that I knew that Grantland was my dream job was maybe the second or third day that it existed, when Grantland published an oral history of the National Sports Daily. And just the sheer fucking audacity of that, of this site that was being launched saying, we're going to take these comparisons and we're going to try to live up to them, was just flooring to me. And the fact that I got to be a part of this site and write normal stories about normal athletes or normal people alongside the Wes Welker Molly Diaries and alongside Jay Kang's brilliant, meticulous diva rankings, and alongside the absent Chris Ryan's deeply thought out, brilliant, if simple hypothesis that, you know what? The sea is fucking dope. The fact that I got to tell the stories I told alongside those pieces was an incredible honor, and so I want to read the very last paragraph of that oral history of the National, this site that somebody decided on the second or third day of Grantland's existence we should kind of compare ourselves to. I'm going to read that right now. The last quote is from Tony Kornheiser, who says, oh, and one more thing about the National. They had Charlie fucking Pierce. And the fact that every now and then our bylines got to appear next to his was nice. So here's what Kornheiser says. He says, I have, in the basement of my house, a National box. I have it, and I have the last day's cover, the one that said, we had a ball. I have that prominently in the glass part of the box. I will not talk about how I got it. Ever. In Washington, they were yellow. My reason for having it? I had great feelings of warmth toward the National. I thought someday, I'd be able to stick this in a living room and somebody will say, what's that? And I'd say, that was the great and noble experiment of sports writing in America. Up next is... Up next is someone who is maybe the reason why half of you are here. He redefined the way that people cover and talk about the National Basketball Association. Zach Lowe.
So before, here was the day that I almost quit journalism. After wasting money on journalism school, which is a huge waste of money and none of you should ever do it. I was working at Sports Illustrated running their NBA blog, which no longer existed because apparently every place I write for will be extinguished in a heartbreaking horror. Seriously, you can't find my archives on Sports Illustrated, which is on the internet. You can't find them. I was at the All-Star game in Orlando, and my assignment was to do everything. So Kevin Love had won the three-point shootout, and I was waiting around to get a one-on-one with Kevin Love because I was a good little journalist, and I was going to get a quote from Kevin Love. And in the background, I could hear that the dunk contest had started, and that Paul George, I think it was Paul George, did some dunk that sounded interesting, and I was stressed out because I also had to grade every dunk in the dunk contest. And I was interviewing Kevin Love and being stressed out about the dunk contest. I literally thought to myself, this is fucking dumb. You're 34 years old, and this is really fucking dumb what you're doing. And shortly after that, I got an email from Bill Simmons that I thought was a joke. I thought one of my friends had set up a joke email account from Bill Simmons, and that they were pranking me about working at Grantland. But it was the real Bill Simmons, and he offered me a job at Grantland, and I wasn't going to take it. And the reason I wasn't going to take it was because Sports Illustrated was Sports Illustrated. We all read Sports Illustrated growing up. It will never die. It's the classic old media. It's the classic old media brand that was stable. And I didn't know Bill at all. Never met Bill. I got the sense that maybe there was a chance that the Bill ESPN situation could, let's say, unfold in some directions that might be unpredictable or maybe very predictable. I don't know. And my wife said to me, I can use bad language, right? You could use bad language. My wife, who is not here because our baby is sick, but she's a hero, she said, stop being such a pussy and go work for Grantland because it's going to be the best thing you ever do in your career. And she was right because she's always right. And so at Grantland, I mean, look at the people I got to work with at Grantland. Some of you, I would read the things that you would write, and I would close my laptop and just cry because it was just, I could never write like that. It's not fair. Jason Concepcion, Twitter, you were a freaking dog on Twitter, a corgi on Twitter. Do you know how many NBA coaches would come up to me and say, who is the dog? I want to meet the dog. That was you. This dude, Wesley Morris, won the Pulitzer Prize of journalism. Do you people know how insane it is that the guy who tells you why Kyle Korver is good writes for the same site as someone who won the Pulitzer Prize? That's insane. So at Grantland, the end of the story is at Grantland, instead of grading the dunk contest and doing something that literally, I mean, a lot of people are doing that, right? That's like, you don't get into journalism to do the same thing that everyone else is doing. You get into it to do different stuff. And at Grantland, Bill would say, go to All-Star and write nothing. Just spend the whole time talking to GMs and scouts and agents because it'll pay off down the road. Go to Summer League in Vegas and write nothing. Go out to dinner with every GM and agent and scout, and it'll pay off down the road. And that's what I got to do, and I'm afraid I'll never get to do that again, and I'll definitely never get to do it again with this kind of collection of people that I got to do it with. And the fact that it was sports and pop culture is what made it cool. I can't tell you how many NBA people would say, Zach, I go on to read the NBA content, and I get sucked into like Andy Greenwald's Breaking Bad recaps. And I thought, that's the coolest thing in the world. And now we all have to kind of find our way. We had this special place, and we have to find our way, and it hurts, and it sucks. But the lesson, as the lesson always is that my wife was right, and that Grantland was the best thing that ever happened to me professionally, and I suspect that we will all feel that way for quite some time. So thanks to everyone at Grantland, and I think up next is another great writer in the slew of great letters, Ben Lindbergh.
The thing no one has mentioned yet is that Bill Simmons has an AOL.com email address. And he still built the best site on the internet, but it was a little dismaying when you get that email and you wonder if he's the right guy to build this site that you're going to go work for. So the piece I picked to read today is by the great Chris Ryan. My first editor at Grantland, and a man who loves Narcos more than most of us love life. I picked this piece because it's another perfect example of a piece that could only have been written at Grantland, and because it's the only Grantland piece that can be read in under 5 minutes. But I think it's become a cult favorite, as it's been name-checked twice already tonight and gotten a big hand both times. It's called The Sea is Dope. It's never been more relevant than it is now, I think, because it was originally published last year, but it's about In the Heart of the Sea, which was delayed 6 months so that it could be coming out 3 weeks from now, because movies that are dope come out in December. So I have to pronounce epistemologically, and I've been drinking, so bear with me. I'm not going to read the subtitles or the footnotes, because none of you read the footnotes, right? We always wondered. Here goes. Every movie set on the sea is dope. White Squall is dope. The Perfect Storm is dope. Master and Commander is super dope. Plus your man Paul Bettany goes out and catalogs turtles. I like expensive failures, Waterworld, expensive successes, Titanic, and critically acclaimed box office failures, The Abyss. I also like Ghost Ship. Sometimes when I'm waiting for someone to G-chat me back and it says so-and-so is typing, this scene plays in my head. It's the one ping only from Red October scene. The hunt for Red October is flames. You wonder why they can't make a good Jack Ryan movie? Not enough submarines. I like every movie ever set on a submarine. I will ride a Lipizzaner Stallion for Crimson Tide. I also like U-571, K-19 the Widowmaker, and Das Boot. Sometimes I think Jaws is the best movie ever made. I like the stakes, basically, don't drown. And I like the setting. I like the man versus nature part of it, sure. But I also like the way the sea amplifies heroism and exploits weakness. Whether you're facing a shark or a Russian sub, we're going to find out who you are before the end of the story. When movie characters go into space, all sorts of epistemological questions get asked. Characters go through wormholes and find out that the distress beacon they've traveled light years to find is just a manifestation of their own inner demons and personal failures. The only way to get back to Earth is to confront the fact that their dad was a chump. When characters go out into the sea, there's just the sea, because the sea is the sea, and it is dope. I bring all of this up because there are 2 sea movies coming out soon, and I'm all in on both of them. First, there's Black Sea, which comes out in January. U-boat full of gold, Jude Law rocking the Begbie from Trainspotting accent, Ben Mendelsohn and Scoot McNairy reunited for the first time since that scene in Killing Them Softly in which they did heroin while listening to heroin. You could say I am jacked for this movie. Or better yet, you could say I bought this sweater. There's a picture of a cable knit sweater. Just for the occasion. Side note, I had no idea there was a private submarine industry. I thought all submarines were owned and operated by navies. Just goes to show you, the sea teaches you something new all the time. Let's just hope there's a scene in which Mendelsohn and McNairy are out on the ocean while Led Zeppelin's The Ocean is playing on the soundtrack. Next we have In the Heart of the Sea, directed by Ron Howard and dropping in March. Great title, Ron. Howard and producer Brian Grazer probably walked into Warner Brothers and said, "Thor on a boat." And then they swept all the crap off the studio exec's desk. Sometimes this stuff sells itself. Howard is a weirdly divisive figure, at least in the Grantland office. I really like Apollo 13 and Backdraft. Some people like A Beautiful Mind. Some do not. One thing he knows how to do is shoot folks in distress because Mother Nature is roiling movies. Dudes versus space. Dudes versus fire. Ron Howard is your guy. Now he's doing Dudes versus water and a whale. This one is the story of a 19th century whale ship attacked by a Moby Dick-like whale. The Moby Dick part is important because this was the story that inspired Herman Melville to write about Ahab and Company. Ben Whishaw plays Melville in the film, and Cillian Murphy and Benjamin Walker co-star with Thor. It looks like Master and Commander meets Alive, with a dash of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea thrown in for good measure. That's good chowder. So go buy a cable knit sweater and start affecting a bizarre Nantucket accent. Start measuring distance in nautical miles and talking about speed in terms of knots. Early 2015 is going to be the season of the sea. I'll see you on the water. The sea is dope. And I can't do Chris justice, but I'll try. Up next is Andy Greenwald!
That was tremendous, as is this sign. Can you turn that around? Thanks, everybody. This is tremendous. I wanted to come up here and kind of ride for the culture side of the site. That was before Ben stood up here as a baseball writer and said the words, "picture of a cable knit sweater." So I think it's fairly well represented. And I kind of wanted to make the case that the culture side was the viable partner of the sports side on Grantland, that it mattered, that even though we worked for a company that's business was literally putting football on television, which, by the way, good business, that we deserved to survive and we had something to say and we were worth funding. And then I heard that they flew Amos to Arizona to interview Capadonna. And it's kind of like, fair enough, you know? We had a good run. This is tremendous. Obviously, I share this feeling with many people here tonight that this was the job of a lifetime. I still remember, I think the testament to the site is obviously in the incredible turnout that we have here from all of you, but also the fact that we have so many people supporting us here tonight who are not coming up on the stage, but our designer is here, our copy editor is here, founding editors who haven't worked at the site in a while are here, and that is overwhelming. And just seeing Lane Brown, who is our founding culture editor, makes me think back to April 2011 when he emailed me asking me if maybe I would come help out on the culture side of this new website he was founding, and I said, I don't know. Which was the stupidest thing I ever said, because obviously this was the greatest job I probably will ever have. I got to work with my best friend and make many, many more best friends in the process. But the biggest debt I feel tonight is to all of you. Since the site ended, you guys know that, right? That's not a spoiler. It totally, no one saw that twist coming, except that one guy at the Atlantic. Shouts to him. Our scalps are yours. No, but since the site ended, I've gotten wonderful feedback from everyone. Maybe some of you are here tonight, and people who wanted to know, what we thought about stuff, since we're not writing about it anymore. So I thought I would try an experiment. I have an iPhone, like everyone, and people have been asking me what I think about certain TV shows, and it's a rough world out there. If you're not paying me, I'm not going to tell you, but tonight I will. So I'm going to find where this timer is, and is it okay to do 4 minutes, or should I do 3? I'm going to do 4. I'm going to try some live TV reviewing. So if you guys have any questions about any TV shows, I will be 100% honest, unlike the last 4.5 years. So we go. Okay, so anybody want to? Okay, right here, right in the front. The Grinder. The Grinder's pretty good, right? It's not bad. Like, it's not painful. It's not bad. The scenes with Fred Savage and his wife are better than they should be. Rob Lowe's having a great time. Love Natalie Morales. Glad she's getting work. Pretty good show. Solid B. Right here. Master of None is great. That was this piece I was going to write on the Monday after they shut down the website where we worked. It is such a warm, wonderful show, and I hope to write about it one day. From the panel. That's my review. Right there. Jessica Jones really loved it, totally surprised. Big fan of the comic book Alias, thought the TV show was sneakily subversive and better than it should be in a lot of ways, but I've only watched 5 and I heard it gets troublesome afterwards. Good question, Brian. I hate everything because clearly you don't follow me on Twitter.
You ever watch Nathan For You?
I don't because apparently people think I look like him and I'm furious about it. What's that? First Take? Never heard of it. Next. Over here. What's that? Game of Thrones poster is fantastic. Jason, come up here. We are going to do 20 seconds Watch the Thrones live right now. This is HBO released the poster today. What do you think?
I think Jon Snow might be alive now.
Shut the fuck up, spoilers.
Yeah, I think that his presence on advertising material clearly denotes that his presence in the show will continue.
Here's the real question. Did everyone in the HBO marketing department start watching The Walking Dead 2 months ago and go, oh, shit. We better not do that. That's my feeling. I'm glad they're steering into the skid because no shit, he's fucking alive. All right, over here. I loved it. I don't know, you guys, maybe you were right. No, I think I was right. Actually, I'll tell this to a crowded room. Damon Lindelof said maybe I was right about season 1. So, but season 2 is really good. He did. He emailed me. Right here. I haven't watched it yet. Being unemployed is kind of awesome. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's West Philadelphia, born and raised, like me, if I lived 3 blocks further east. So. Red Oaks. Yeah, I didn't watch it. And then I was like watching the beginning of Man in the High Castle before I decided I didn't have to, and there was an ad for Red Oaks, and I was like, yeah, that's third in line, you know. Here in the blue. I didn't like it, so I stopped watching it because I can do that now. Go here. That's the best show on TV, and everyone here watches it. All right, how are we doing? We've got 1 minute left. This is going great. Okay. Good, right? But it's kind of tough. Like it's a You're the Worst, my favorite comedy from last year. It's kind of not a comedy anymore. It's brilliant. I think everyone should watch it, but the pleasure factor is not what it once was. Right here. Homeland last night. You know, it basically it kind of tell us that the person who's a villain this year, I won't spoil it, like anyone here is going to catch up, but it said she was a villain because she liked shopping for bags, and they told us that in the first 10 minutes. Who doesn't like shopping for bags? Here. Late night, I have a child, so sorry. I'm go to bed the same time Zach does. Right here. The Affair is totally terrible, but a bunch of people here ride for it, including my once and future and current boss, Bill Simmons, so I can say nothing about it. Right there. What's that? Fargo's fantastic. It's so good, and we're missing it right now. And I'm sorry to tell you that there was a massive shootout in tonight's episode, and I would never do that. Okay, last one, right there. I don't know, Baranski's awesome, as are you. Thank you for everything. It was such a good exit line, though, right? I have the best job of tonight because I get to introduce probably everyone who's here has a favorite person at Grantland, and this is probably the guy I get to introduce. Wesley Morris won a Pulitzer Prize. You know, everyone, there are many great things that came out of working at Grantland. Getting to meet and work with Rembert Browne is top one, I would say. He's a wonderful person. I feel like he has a very strong and robust social media presence, and that social media presence probably suggests that he's everyone's best friend, but I honestly think that everyone who works at Grantland would agree with that, and I'm not just saying that because he went to the Ice Luge tequila shot thing at Bill's last holiday party where Johnny Bananas was not there. I didn't do the Ice Luge, but Rembert did, and he's going to do it again tonight. Rembert Brown.
I don't think my mom knows what a live stream is, and I'm pretty pumped about that right now. Also, hey, Bill. He's definitely watching and definitely texting like 6 of us right now. Just like, stop saying like all the time. So I There were a lot of emails that went out about this, and I didn't read any. And then I saw one email from Amos, which is weird because I tend to screen all of his emails. But I remember something he sent, which was like, everyone's going to read something by someone else, which ended up not being true, apparently. Prepared to read The Malice in the Palace in its entirety. So if everyone can take their seats. No, I'm not gonna read that, but I have like, I'm really good at preparing for events like this because I write notes 4 minutes before I go on stage, and I want to tell 6 very quick stories before I intro our last person. And one is, I don't know why I got so lucky to get here. We had a lot of accomplished people that worked here, and by accomplished, I mean they had a job at Spin at one point. And I never knew where I fit in because I didn't work at Spin in 1982. So, but somehow I got here. And I remember all of my friends from college freaking out in a way that they had not freaked out because I didn't work at Lehman. And they were like, "You're working at Grantland, that's where like Bill Simmons is." And I was like, "I know, but like I don't really like fuck with that dude because I went to college in New Hampshire, and everyone in New Hampshire like was from New England, and I happened to go to New Hampshire in the point where all the Boston, New England teams won everything, and so Bill would write something, everyone would like faint in my dorm, and I would be like talking about the Hawks and the Falcons, being like, fuck this dude from ESPN, I really don't like him. Why are people like emailing me his articles? And so when I went to go work for him, I was like, yo, like, Bill, like, all my friends think you're tight, but, like, whatever. And, hey, Bill. So it was a really interesting process, like, realizing kind of, like, the scope of young Simmons. The second story I'm going to tell is my first interview at Grantland. I had never, like, I hadn't had any journalism background before, and I was at South by Southwest 2012, and a publicist was like, hey, like, do you want to like go backstage and smoke? And I was like, yeah, that's fucking dope. And what I didn't know was that she was also prepping me for my first interview of all time with Mystical, and she walked me backstage, and right when she opened the door to the green room of backstage, she got a call and like turned around, and so I walked in the green room and she was gone, and the first person I saw was Bow Wow. And I was like, why am I in a room with Bow Wow right now? And then so I was like, and all these like, there were like 45 people in this smoky room looking at me, and I didn't know what to say. And I just was like, I'm looking for Mystical. And like some random dude thankfully saw the terror in my eyes and guided me to Mystical, who was really wonderful. So that's how you, that's J School. Another story is more recently, 2015, somehow through the grace of God, someone allowed me on a plane with Barack Obama. And the night before was basically me just like emptying out my bag and searching it and then packing it and then emptying it out again just to like make sure I wasn't ISIS. And like I was just terrified. I was like, there's somehow something's gonna end up in here that's going to get me sent to Guantanamo for 50 years. And I didn't trust myself to be a good American. And so like but when en route to that trip, 2 of like the greatest things in my life happened in terms of working here. One, I like had this like meeting at the White House, and when I walked in to this person's office, I walked in and I sat on the couch, and I was sitting behind a White House staffer who was reading a Grantland article. And it wasn't just a Grantland article, it was Sean McIndoe, who was our hockey writer. who wrote a piece about In Living Color. And I know people have been talking about like the things that couldn't happen anywhere else. Sean McIndoe, our hockey writer, writing a piece about In Living Color is the most Grantland piece that's ever happened of all time. The other thing that happened was when I like got my shit together and I was like walking in the room with smooth ass Barack Obama, and I walk in and I shake his hand and I'm like about to fucking cry, and he's like, I'm like, Rembert Brown, Grantland. And he's like, oh, Grantland, like, I love Grantland, tell Bill to write more. And I had this whole question planned out in my head, and I just like blacked out. I could not tell you anything that happened for the rest of that trip because I was like, the President of the United States knows what Grantland is. And he knows what my boss is, and that's very cool. So that was just an amazing moment. The last two, one, and I think in terms of things that I was the most nervous about, I just want to give a open thank you for, and I think this rings true for like lots of people. If there was one thing our staff as a whole was nervous about, I think it was doing podcasts. I think everyone was like very like comfortable with like writing, blah blah blah, and like we worked for this TV company that obviously like didn't care about writing, but like wanted to like. Sorry. But wanted us to be more, and so I think all of us at once, and like this is where we all have to thank David Jacoby, who is the greatest man of all time. He made a lot of us feel very comfortable in a space that very few of us felt comfortable in. And those first couple podcasts that I had, and I remember like some of Greenwald's first podcasts, same with Zach, same with Amos's one podcast with Ethan Hawke, which was tight. I remember that. It was something that I think all of us were very hesitant of, but really like once we saw the reaction and saw the response of just like learning about the people that work at our site in like a second avenue, I think that was something that gave us confidence, not only as people that are doing podcasts, but as writers in general. The final thing, and I will pass it off, is that one of the proudest things that I think, probably the only thing I can take any credit for at Grantland was kind of hoping to build what is Grantland East, which is basically all the people that after 100 asks, refused to move to LA. Young Greenwald over here was a very instrumental person, as was Amos, as was Lindsay, and it was amazing going from working at home in my bed every day and like not really feeling like I send stuff to someone and they put it on the website, but I didn't like 100% felt like I worked there, to helping to convince ESPN that we needed desks, to asking for a lot of desks, to asking them to put our desks on the other side of the room so no one would hear what we talked about, to then, like having this culture where, me and Amos and Lindsay came in every day. Greenwald came in a couple times a week, even though he swore he never would. Zach Lowe only came in to do expenses till the very end, but I respect him nonetheless. Shoemaker came in to do his podcast, and then like and we'd smoke 72 cigarettes after those 10 minutes that we were in the office. It was just like the idea of building, like a lot of us wanted to live in LA, but we didn't. We wanted to be part of like the day in, day out thing, but like to create a culture over here where we felt like we were actually part of this thing, which really manifested itself, unfortunately, on the last day where we all started to drink at about 12:15 and had a long night. But I really want to thank everyone that came in and at least attempted to make the East Coast side of this thing a real thing for as long as it lasted. So I love all of you. And for the final speaker of the night, I would like to introduce just a good man. His name is Jonah Keri.
What a huge mistake was made by making me last. Huge. I've been drinking. When the Grantland thing happened and they shut it off, I tended to tweet some nice things about some great people. And I think that the outward projection of the site is that it's very much a writer-driven site, and to me it was an editor-driven site. It was Mallory Rubin, who's not here, who's the best, and Chris Ryan, who's not here, who's the best, and Sean Fennessy, who's the best, and Dan Fearman, who's the best. And those were the people that enabled us to do the things that we wanted to do. It was very liberating. I just made up my own stories. Just said, I want to do this thing. And they said, okay, 6,000 words about the Milwaukee Brewers. That's fine. Like, that's okay. And it was a wonderful, supportive environment. And these people are all going to succeed to the moon. And the fact that Zach Lowe and Bill Barnwell and the people whose names you might know, they were all enabled by the people who ran the site. So please, a big round of applause. And to Rafe as well, who's here today. And now I'm going to tell you a Pedro Martinez story. Because I'm very drunk and I love Pedro Martinez. So my favorite assignment at Grantland was covering Pedro Martinez at the Hall of Fame. And Ryan O'Hanlon, who's here as well, who was my editor, who's great. Ryan's great.
There he is.
And you know, it was agreed that they would send me to Cooperstown because I'm a respectable baseball writer. Not respectable at all, by the way, but okay. And so they sent me there, and the decision had been made that I was going to go cover this thing. Craig Biggio had been inducted, John Smoltz, all these people that have, whatever, these white boys who have nothing to do with Pedro Martinez. And so I, in addition to my Montreal friends, rented a B&B. We rented out the whole B&B. We were just like, we established this thing, we're going to do it. So we get into town, and we're kind of doing our thing and mixing around, and we talk to people, we meet with people. We end up going to dinner. I met Ric Flair there. That was amazing. Amazing. Okay. It's Ric Flair. It's great. I text a friend who's a Red Sox writer. Red Sox writer says, hey, what's up? Not much. Hey, what's going on with Pedro tonight? I'm friendly with Pedro Martinez at this point. Not to brag. I'm bragging. And he says, there's a Red Sox party. You should come to this thing. I said, great. Okay. How can we make this happen? You should talk to the Red Sox PR lady. Okay, well, can you facilitate this thing? Sure. So facilitates this thing, that's fine. Do you want to come to this thing? Yeah, great, that's great. I'm going to bring a couple of friends, 10 friends, wearing flip-flops and Expos jerseys and shorts and have had drinks at dinner. Okay, so we're going to go to this thing. So we show up to this party. It's Pedro Martinez's party. It's a black tie party. The commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, is at this party. I am drunk. My friends are drunk. We're wearing flip-flops and shorts and Expos jerseys of a team that's been defunct for 11 years. Fine. Okay. So we go in. She sees me. She's 4'11". And we know each other. She says, you didn't say that there'd be 12 of you wearing Expos jerseys. You said there'd be a couple of you. Fine. Okay. She's busting my balls a little bit. So Pedro Martinez is giving a talk. He's giving a speech about, it's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame the next day. How wonderful it is, all these people are here, these dignitaries, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, Dan Duquette, all these very important people. And we are these hosers, drunk, and wearing flip-flops and shorts. And he's talking, and we're kind of standing off to the side, open bar, by the way, and we're feeling a little bit bad about the situation. This is my favorite Grantland assignment by a factor of 1,000, by the way. Ryan O'Hanlon, who was my editor, said, yeah, go to Cooperstown. That's fine. We'll pay for you. It's good. Good job, Ryan. And so we're standing there, and he's giving this speech, and he's talking about the influences that he had. And this is one of the greatest athletes of all time in any sport. Tremendous, tremendous player. Talking about these are the things that I accomplished, these are the things I did. And he gets into nitty-gritty or whatever, and he sees my buddy standing next to me, and my buddy Dave is wearing a Rusty Staub 1969 Montreal Expos jersey, like the nerdiest thing you could possibly wear. Pedro Martinez is talking, he's in full, if you've ever met this guy, he's very evocative, he emotes. In the middle of a sentence, he sees my buddy. We're standing maybe 25 feet away. We're kind of nervous. There's women in cocktail dresses. There's men in suits. There's the fucking commissioner of baseball there. And he sees my buddy and he says, "Bienvenue, mes amis!" And he starts talking in French. And we're just like, holy shit, this is the coolest thing ever. And he calls us over. He stops his speech. We proceed to have selfies with Pedro Martinez. We proceed to do shots with Pedro Martinez. And it was the coolest thing ever. P.S. My buddy Dave, wearing the Rusty Staub jersey, says, his phone is blowing up, and he's a single guy, he's 30s. Say, hey, you got Tinder in upstate New York? What's going on here? He says, no, somebody's texting me. Who's texting you? The mayor of Montreal. Montreal is a city of 3 million people. It's a large city. He says, thank you, guy from Montreal. He says, what's going on? He says, oh, Denis Coderre is standing outside the party and wants to get in. Can we get him in? The mayor of a city of 3 million people. Sure. So we, having had shots with Pedro Martinez, proceed to grab the mayor of Montreal and bring him into the party. And then he has selfies and shots with Pedro Martinez as well. And the editorial freedom and the ability to do what we wanted and to have fun, quite frankly. This is a fun industry. These are really smart, kind, wonderful people. Everybody, those people, they're kind, they're lying. They're amazing. They could do anything they wanted to do. They could be millionaires at Goldman. They could be in philanthropy. It's true. And don't, Rem, relax. I'm complimenting you.
Grantland hedge fund right now.
It could work. They chose this path. They're really intellectually great, emotionally great. They're wonderful people to work with. I'm the old guy on staff. There's Simmons, there's Pierce, and there's me. I'm the third oldest person on staff. I'm old. And we all chose this. We all banded together to do this thing. And it was incredible to be invited. It was incredible to be part of the cool kids. It was incredible to be assigned these amazing things where we could go fuck off and be with Pedro Martinez, or we could go be with President Obama, or we could go write about the leftovers, or we could do whatever the hell we wanted to do. And we'll miss this thing. We already missed this thing. We're all gonna go off and do different things. Some of us are gonna do things that are not sports. Some of us are gonna do things that are not pop culture. And that's okay, because we accomplished something. It was a great thing. It was a great 4 years. It was a phenomenal 4 years. We were happy to be there. Yeah. And I'm the tall Canadian Jew nerd who's really old, was happy to be a part of this thing. And it was a wonderful experience, and each of us have a story, a Pedro Martinez doing shots story, or whatever, that made this a seminal moment in our lives. And we will go to the grave at some point and we will remember Grantland as the coolest fucking site on the internet. And that was an amazing thing. And so I'm happy to be a part of it. And I'm thrilled that you all came out. The day that Grantland dissolved on October 30th, I'm gonna be emotional for a second. It was like being at your own funeral. It was people, Richard Sandomir, who I met in Cooperstown the night after I did shots with Pedro Martinez, by the way, that's true. People saying nice things about you while you're still in the world of existence was a wonderful thing, and we felt great about it, and we feel great about the site, and we're so happy that you honored us here, and it means the world to us, so thank you very much.
Jonah Keri is on the phone.
Yeah, you can make an announcement.
I just one final announcement, and
We're not done yet.
I'm only Good Charlotte's on their way, but everyone hold tight. Literally, no one's in this room, but I'm like, by the grace of God, I hope this woman is watching this live stream. There is a human being that took care of all of us in many different aspects of our life. Her name is Monica. Monica, you might see this in 17 years when you learn about the internet, but I love you, and you bailed a lot of us out when our corporate cards had expired because we were all really bad at doing expenses, Andy Greenwald, and so we, I just want to thank her because she literally was like the caretaker of anyone. Anytime anyone did like a story where they weren't in their home city and they might have to check into, I don't know, a hotel or had to get a rental car, she was the one that was just like, I got you, baby. I got you. I will take care of you. So yeah, that's all I have to say. The end.
Thank you, Rem. All right. Thank all of you guys. We're not done yet. We're going to do a Q&A that lasts as long as you guys feel like making it last. So get up around here. That's what these chairs are for. Yeah, we can do it. We'll make it relatively brief. We have a couple mics. Rafe is going to MC, and then
I don't know about that.
We'll get some more drinks.
Everybody backstage, if you complete, come on
Yeah.
up. Like Kevin, you wrote for the site. Jared, you wrote for the site.
I think Wesley
Everybody
would like
who
to
worked, Wesley, please just join. Let's get everybody up here. David Shoemaker, the Masked Man. Chris Brown, Smart Football. Juliet, Lindsay, who designed
Zach, who
everything.
Thought you were going home.
I got like 10 minutes. This is going to be hot.
This Q&A is going to be
So late.
14 minutes long.
This is speed round.
And I
Megan,
just
where are
started
you?
the
Megan
clock.
Craig, where are you? Please come up here. Come on, Megan.
I have one of the mic.
Copy Chief Megan Craig.
God, there are so many white
We
people
love you.
on stage right now. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right, let's do this. First question. Come on. Right here.
I want to ask, Andy, why don't more people...
It's a good question already.
Why don't more people love Jeffrey Donovan?
Wow, why don't more people love Jeffrey Donovan?
This dude already has
Because
a podcast.
not many people are watching Fargo season 2. Or Burn Notice. That's true. I think it's because too many people come to readings of defunct websites instead of watching Fargo season 2. You've all made a terrible mistake.
All right, hey Greenwald, I'm gonna just make this executive decision right now, because I already have a new job. While I love the specific questions about 24 season 7 episode 4, any general questions will be great. Because basically, I just do not want to hear it from Andy ever again. So
I'm just gonna. The sports side was more popular.
Oh, you want to know about? Is that a wrestling thing? Yeah. So here's the thing about Survivor Series. Oh, sorry. You want to talk to Masked Man? Get up here. Yo, this is the Masked Man.
What was the question? I mean, who doesn't want a giant white Irish dick winning the championship, right? Do I need more than that?
Do one more sentence.
No, I don't. I mean, I didn't come prepared to say anything. So, all right.
Right here.
All right, this question for Zach. We're in New York. You gotta expect this.
I got like.
Oh yeah! Yes, Porzingis, Carmelo.
What would? I think Porzingis is good. What was the term you said? But you podsterbated about Porzingis? Porzingis is going to be really good. Ask something about Grantland.
Would he be a good intern?
For you?
Just Porzingis, like.
Just in general.
He's so fly. He's like 7'9", and like wears like white suits. I fuck with him. Question from Boom.
Yo, for you. The first whispers of alcohol in my life all had to do with Hypnotic.
Yes. All other questions will be about Hypnotic. Keep going. Great question. Pretty much the only questions we need tonight. So here's the thing. If you don't know, when I realized things were kind of like ending, I started drinking at work a lot. And so once I did that for a story, and I drank a full bottle of Hypnotic at work, and diaried my basically what was happening to my heart. And what I will say, I heard that. What I will say is, it is on ice. It is one of the top 17 drinks I've ever had. What I will say is when you make it to 3/4 of the way through a bottle, you have a heartburn that Tums could never handle. And I would not wish that on anyone else.
Hulk.
Hey, Rafe.
Hulk, right? You need to drink Hulk.
Cold?
Hulk. Incredible Hulk.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. My apologies. Jesus. The Incredible Hulk, which is Hypnotic and Hennessy, has been pardoned by Barack Obama as you can't go to jail for making that for someone. So you're good. Yeah, it's incredible. Orange.
How many of you are running ESPN now? 0. No.
That's not true. Lindbergh, 1, 2.
I'm a half. Yeah.
2.
I meant to cosplay as Bill Barnwell tonight, but I forgot the hat. Nobody in the city would loan me a Red Sox hat. I'm actually been Bill Barnwell this entire time, and I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry to break it to you like this. Bill's in Scotland right now, but he's also on .com, leading the site as he fucking should be.
About 6.5. That's if you're betting. I don't know. Oh, okay. Can I tell a quick Bill Barnwell story? Yo, like, hey Bill Barnwell, fuck you, because Bill has this thing where he can like get like $32 flights to Dubai, and like we all saw it because he had this Instagram, which is basically like an Instagram that was all about, hey coworkers, I'm in Dubai filing about the Seahawks, like what you up to? And that was real fucked up because he never taught us how to go to Dubai. So
No, I have a Bill Barnwell. So one time I was flying Delta and I was like that's a funny story already, right? So I was flying Delta and the flight was like absurdly delayed, like 157 hours delayed. And I Instagrammed something that sort of like vaguely suggested that I was frustrated by this. And I got an email from Bill or a text from Bill Barnwell like right away saying like, you know, if you're having problems with Delta, like call like 1-800 something.
So I called the number, and like the person who picked up said, "Hello, is this Bill Barnwell?" Like like he has his own 1-800 number at Delta. So yeah. Next question. This guy in the middle. Wesley can't talk right now, but Wesley, try. Do your best.
This is Wesley Morris. He has a really bad case of a sore throat, so he doesn't have a lot of voice right now. Do you want to tell me?
Hi. This is what I sound. Oh, this isn't bad.
You sound like Tiger.
Oh, do I? Should I take my clothes off too?
Wait, do you have a question?
That's what you do for a living. Oh yeah.
Does anyone have a question for Wesley Morris?
Tell us about By the Sea, Wesley.
That's your question. We watched that at the movies last night. Well, maybe if I talk like this, you can hear me a little bit better. What's the question? Sicario?
Wait. Sorry. I will intro this for Wesley. Hi, I'm Rembert. I thought Sicario was whack. Do you agree?
I do, Rembert. But it's a conversation that I'm open to having. It is a rolling dialogue. You don't have to agree with me. There are $44 million worth of people who do not agree with me. I don't know. I think I was talking to Chris Ryan, who loves that movie, and I think the mediator of that conversation that day said, oh, it was Sean Fennessy. He said, oh, the problem with the two of you disagreeing about this movie is, Chris, you wanted a drug war movie, and you got it. And Wesley, you wanted a movie about the war on drugs, and didn't get it. That seems about right. Yes. Oh, also, just to clarify on the Sicario point, where my ladies at? Because are there no ladies in?
There are 7 in the building right now.
Ladies, I'm not saying that you can't like Sicario, but I personally, as a feminist, have a problem with the idea that you basically have a movie about 2 dudes who want to like fight the war on drugs, but have this proxy woman who has to be stupid so they can explain every single thing about solving the drug war to her. Oh, sorry. Here, Holly Anderson is.
Do you have a problem if halfway through Sicario you decide that Benicio del Toro is your romantic ideal, and at the end of the movie you have not changed your mind?
No, because watching him in this movie, I had the same experience. Which I have to say again, as a feminist, the final scene of that movie, I will not spoil for you, but it is basically, it leaves a character with a lot of bus marks on her face and arms and legs. And I didn't care. I hated that character, and I wanted Benicio to go to Mexico and kill all those motherfuckers.
Oh, it's basically Homeland season 14, in other words.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Yo, Brown, we have 2 more questions.
All right, more questions.
I want to take a minute and embarrass our friend Jay Casper.
Oh, yes, I'm here for
Jay
this.
Kang is in the house.
I'm here for this. I am here for this.
It's empty. This is empty. Don't sweat it. Jay was a founding editor. He's been at Grantland. He was at Grantland at the very beginning.
He was in the system a little longer than he was.
So many of us have a I got hired because of Jay story.
I got hired because of Jay.
Mine begins in a small bookstore in Berkeley where a homeless guy was screaming at me. And most of them start something like that.
Yeah, mine too.
I was that homeless guy.
Besides writing a lot of the most memorable prose and sentences and a lot of the greatest stuff that we ever published. Jay, even after he moved on from the site, his brain was sort of within all of us, and we kept it alive. And I'm glad he's here tonight.
I agree.
Do you want to say anything, Jay?
We have 2 more questions. We have 2 more. Megan? Where's Megan? Megan, we have 2 more questions.
If we're being completist about what made the site great, the woman who saved our bacon week in and week out,
Megan Gray.
Okay. Megan Gray. If you liked reading the site, and presumably you're here, so you did, and you never found any typos or had to send a correction about stuff that was wrong, this is the woman you should be thanking.
And when just sentences flowed. That's what our copy desk does.
Anyway, next question.
Sorry for writing conversate all the time. It's converse. Okay, I can't get. Wait. Okay, I like my new job, and I'm gonna keep it. I will tell one story, and this might not fit your thing, but this is more of an embarrassing story on my part. Young Simmons used to have a holiday party every year that was near or around his home, and every year somehow there was one quasi-famous person that would just show up. Yeah, I was looking at you, Jay. And this is just my story, which was basically there was always a surprise every year. And I think everyone, a lot of people here have their surprise story where they interacted with the surprise person. Mine was the first year, which is when Jimmy Kimmel came to the holiday party, which we all have learned who is a very good friend of Simmons. And the first year, not a lot of us knew each other, and obviously all the LA Simmons friends didn't know each other, so it was if anyone knows what a Sadie Hawkins dance is, it was literally it was Grantland over here, not Grantland over here, and no one interacted. Until 4 hours in, where some of us were yo, I think I've had 17 drinks, I think I can go talk to someone. And being the dumb idiot, I was the first person to go over, and I made my way over to Kimmel, and that's a bear. It's fine. And I was like, hey, Jimmy. And he was like, what's up, man? He was like, yo, you like Prince? And literally, I had no hesitation. I was like, I want to know if Jimmy Kimmel likes Prince. And he was like, yeah, man, I like Prince a lot. And we just talked about the Purple Rain movie for 10 minutes, and every 90 seconds I would look over and I would see some of my coworkers. They were just I was yeah, it's going great. And then after 4 minutes, it felt an hour and a half, but I think it was probably 90 seconds. I was like, cool, Jimmy, well, I'm gonna get out of here. And I walked to the other side of the room and I was like, yeah, man, we're in. And the room started to merge. But I feel every year there was one person where it was none of us deserve to ever talk to that person, but they're here, and I've had enough Moscow mules to walk over on the other side of the room. So that's not really about Simmons, but that's just because I want to keep my job for a long time.
Anybody else? One more person? This guy in the front.
Jason and Andy, how do we get more Watch the Thrones? Stay
tuned. Here is where I say that I'm under contract with ESPN until March.
And here's where I say spoilers are things that nobody wants.
Andy has a podcast that you can listen to. iTunes.com/channel33.
I didn't know what 33 stood for until 2 weeks before Grantland shut down. This is a true story.
It's
I
for
don't know how I
Patrick
got hired.
Ewing.
Yeah, good job.
Y'all want a story? No, it's not really a story. But Grantland 33, the Twitter account. There were times in those last 3 weeks where we were like, what would happen if we change it to Grantland 24? That's the story. We never did it because we were scared.
This is secretly a devastating burn, and none of you get it. Who gave me this power? I don't need this.
One more question.
Last question.
One more question. What?
Wait, what was that?
Other last question.
Yes. Everyone can. Okay. What is going to happen is I'm going to pass the mic around, and everyone is going to say who they think. Be as honest as you can. I'm passing this to everyone.
Robert Mays.
And that's the answer. Wait, another question. One more question. That was a simple. Okay. You know what? I'm going to take all 4 of these questions. And literally no one else. Okay, right there. Strangest email from another staffer that you got. Does anyone have a good answer? Yes.
Mark Lasanti told me to flush myself down the toilet.
Wait, I've got one actually. We had one posted on the office walls for a while from, I don't know, maybe he should remain nameless, but one of our fearless recappers tended to watch television in the nude. And he would take screenshots.
Tight.
And actually managed to send a few screenshots with his junk in them to his editor.
Love you, Wesley.
I'm not naming him. It didn't make it onto the site.
Go. Who won 2015? Wait. All right, I might break this right now. Guess what? It's coming back. New York Mag, baby. The answer is John Skipper. So I'm kidding. Come on. He obviously didn't win. Go.
Who's the best athlete at the site?
Rembert Browne. So next question. Does anyone have an answer for who's the best athlete? It's Rafe. It's Rafe.
Rafe is really good at basketball.
Wait, are you the best athlete?
Yes.
Yes, the answer is Ryan O'Hanlon. He says, Rafe is the best basketball player. Titus, here's the thing about Titus, like, maybe peaked. I miss you, Mark. Oh, yeah. No, O'Hanlon over Jalen. Definitely O'Hanlon over Jalen. All right, last question, right there.
So you guys all talk about how much freedom you had to pick stories, but if anyone has examples of stories that were so ridiculous they actually did get cut.
Ooh. Wait, in the last 2 months or? Oh. So I will pass this around, but I will start because Wesley just whispered in my ear. For about 2.5 years, this is like really hard to talk about, but for the past the last 2.5 years, Wesley and I really tried to start a Broadway vertical. Like it was like sports, pop culture, Broadway. And every 3 months, I try to find Sean Finnessy in a point of weakness, or he was in a great mood. And I'd like take him out to lunch, and I'd be like, yo, by the way, I know we just had a great lunch, but Broadway vertical. Me and Wesley, Broadway vertical, and every single time he's like, I will literally fire you. Bill too, no one supported the Broadway vertical.
I pitched a Hamilton story a year ago, and they were like, eh.
Stop. No, I won't.
Does anyone have another good story or something?
Can I talk about the first meeting I was ever in with Jay Kang, where it was one of those meetings where we were supposed to go around and share our biggest ideas at the time. Sounds great. And like for perspective, this was my first interaction with Jay, and for a perspective, I was next to him, and my idea as we were going around was, I want to take James Cameron in a submersible down in the Marianas Trench and get high. And I thought I was reaching, and then Jay was directly after me, and Jay goes, I want to pay for Grantland to move me to my own private island where I can slowly poison myself to death and write about it. Neither one of those stories happened, and I regret half of them, but I'm not going to tell you which half.
Anyone else? All right, I think we're done.
All right.
Thank you very much to Gelf, Michael Gluckstadt, everybody at Gelf Magazine for giving us, all of us, this space to share tonight. I hope you guys make it back to the other readings. I've done them before. Jonah Keri's done them before. I hope we get to do them again. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Ray. All right. Thank you to all of our speakers, everybody who's really up on stage. Thanks for tonight, and thank you for countless hours of. Do you want to sing something? I don't know. No, I don't. All right. Well, thank you again so much for all that you've done for everybody here in this room. I'm glad we were able to provide a platform for everybody here to say thank you to all of you. Thank all of you guys for coming out. We'll be back here next month, December 14th, and tonight we'll be here till they kick us out. So there's plenty more to drink. Thank you.
Yo, can the DJ play my walkout song that they forgot to play?
Do you want to sing something?
I had a walkout song.